Hello guys, welcome back. Oh, chaos is breaking loose. Let's hope I can actually get through this video. So, goddess of the day is going to be La Santa, La Santísima. La Santísima Muerte. And that is as much Spanish as you're ever going to get on this channel because I don't speak it and I know how horrible even that was. I'm sorry. If I want to put her in a good mood, I just try to speak Spanish to her, and she thinks it's hilarious, and she laughs, and she laughs, and she laughs, and she's like, "Say cortita again!" Ah! She thinks it's funny. So, she's very sweet, and she's very kind to work with. You can look up her history, as she was a goddess before she got this, Catholic saint face. And of course, if you go to someone who's working with her as a Catholic saint, they're going to be very upset if you say, well, it's great you people are finally working with goddesses. They're not going to admit that. They're like, no, she's Saint Death. She's most holy death. Other titles that they give to her. Um, Three traditional colors are going to be black, white, and red. And those are La Santa is always La Santa no matter what she's wearing, but it's like black is the hardworking one. White is sometimes thought to be the oldest, and so forth and so on. And people will try to use, red for love magic, whichever. Um, be sure you know what you want before you go to her. In experience, I will tell you to know what you want because she has a huge mischievous side, and the dumber your request, the happier she will be to fulfill it. So, if you go to her and you make this silly request, not really thinking it through, she may very well answer you, especially if you've read this article and they go, yeah, just go get a pink candle and light it for love, and ask her for love. She may be in a mood to tease you with it and give you a really dumb answer, or she may be in a mood that you didn't specify, so the love you're going to get is somebody's going to leave a kitten on your doorstep. You asked for love, you didn't specify. She has a great sense of humor. Obviously there are going to be things done in different cultures with her that if you're not cool with, don't do it in your culture. It's all cultures are very different. What's approved of and normal in some cultures isn't approved of in, normal in others. Um, I would warn against trying to use her aggressively. I know a lot of people feel justified, and a lot of people get into working with La Santa, especially La Santa and Voodoo. People get into that usually because they want to go out and do something wrong, and they don't think, the gods that they work with are going to do it. A lot of people will tell you that work with La Santa and have worked with her for decades. That whoever you are working with, if you're working, like for lack of a better word, black magic, you're not working with La Santa. She can be very dangerous. She can kill people. She is death, but she's your personal death. And if you send her out after someone, your personal death, who is always with you, and she finds out that you lied to her, you're going to get your ass kicked. I love her. She's a sweetheart, but if she thinks you're in the wrong, she's going to come back and kick your ass. If you're lucky, you get a warning. Sometimes she gives warnings. I think she gave one gentleman, she gave him 3 warnings. But that's a lot of warnings for La Santa. So, usually it's like you'll get the idea that her hand's tightening on her side and she will look at you. For a goddess who was ancient, before even this country was here, I'm trying to be respectful of her age because I'm getting this kind of head tilt, like, keep going, keep going. For a goddess who was here before other cultures were here, that's okay. Um, she can adapt very well. She doesn't care if you dress her as La Santa. She doesn't care if you put her in those wedding gowns, though those are really meant to find love, but I thought they were so pretty for her. And it was kind of like a spiritual union thing, and she's so miserable. We actually got rid of 1 or 2 because she just can't stand them. If you want them and you think they're beautiful and you're looking for love or you're looking for a spouse or something, you can get it. But if you normally work with, like I normally work with black robes, she's the hardworking one, and she takes a look at that stuff and she's like, really? You're putting me in that? Fine. But you can get her statues and everything. You don't really need a statue when you first start because you're either going to like each other or not. She is a goddess who you either love each other or you're going to hate each other. And there are videos on YouTube of people that hate her, And they can just walk into the room where her statue is and she activates. She's very dominant female. She's very dominant, and a lot of people will mistake her for a male deity because she's so dominant. She's very dominant, she's very aggressive. If you cannot submit, and there's no other word for it, if you cannot submit and let her be Lala Regina, things are not going to go well for you. If you have to be the dominant female, if you have to be alpha female of your pack, even to a goddess, she's going to kick your ass for you. She's not going to like you. If you can treat her like the queen and royalty that she is and the goddess, and you don't have to humiliate yourself, but if you can treat her as a queen and give her, whatever you think she will like, she will love you for it. Now, she laughs at me because I cannot cook a lot of things. I used to make her gorditas. I got like the pan and the corn flour and everything. And she used to laugh because, if you don't grow up in the culture, it's very hard to look at a book and teach yourself how to cook. And I was making, it's not gorditas, what the hell is it? The pork that you cook in oil. I was making that one, carnitas. I was making carnitas one year and we actually caught the stove on fire. So we don't make carnitas now unless I get them already made and we heat them up. So she would laugh. I mean, she will protect you. The fire didn't go anywhere, but it was like, she's like, you're really clumsy at this. Maybe you should just, get me Taco Bell. She really doesn't care. It doesn't have to be, Mexican, South American, or anything else. She will tease me. I don't know if I have the right word with Chipolinas, little fried crickets. She'll tell me she's gonna give me a Chipolina taco. Num num. She will tease me, and she will laugh because remember the culture she's from. She's associated with a lot of awesome animals like bats and owls and any of the things that, say, her husband in concert would have had. She can be associated with them. She can be associated with snakes. She can be associated with every creepy crawly that makes you run and scream because she's said to live underground. Her original festival was, for the dead, and it would be like a couple months long, and she would be, sing over it in attendance. And most people really did love her, and they loved serving her as a goddess. She was one of the more kind goddesses, benevolent, and wasn't as harsh as, say, some of the other goddesses to serve. If you were at the festival and you were having a good time, she was happy. Today, as a La Santa, or, as her goddess aspect, she loves a good party. She oversees the welfare of the gay community, of prostitutes, yes, of criminals, anyone that's been pushed to the outside by the Catholic Church, and this is a big important part of it, she will oversee their protection because they have literally nowhere else to go, and it's said death can turn no one away because eventually we're all going to die, so you have your personal death whether you want her or not. And I'm getting back here. She is a sweetheart. um she can be stubborn, she can be willful, and it's not like I'm talking about trying to make her do something. I'm talking about if you come to a disagreement, she will just plant her heels and she will be stubborn. If she does not like someone, she will let them know. I have heard audible growls, and I had, hand to goddess, true story. Two men were installing the stove for me, and I thought I could trust the people that I had ordered the stove from. Well, the one guy starts snickering and making jokes about raping me in a voice loud enough for me to hear because he thought he was a brilliant comedian. Do you know he got knocked on his fucking ass with a 220 line, and he was knocked out cold. And I was going to dial 911, and I thought he was dead. And the other guy came in, and he got up. He dirtied himself, and he had to go run and use the bathroom. And the guy said, "What happened?" I said, "He got knocked out." And the other guy got really, all of a sudden it was yes ma'am, no ma'am, and they were really, princes on earth, but she will protect her people. She can do it more gently, but she was like, no, you just fucked with one of my children, I'm going to show you who I am. And it was White Ropes that did it, and she was there like, and she thought it was funny as hell. I was going like, La Santa, because at the time I was writing articles on her. I said, I just told everybody how sweet you are, and you killed a man in my kitchen. And she's like, I said, La Santa, and she thought it was hilarious. She's usually not going to do anything that dramatic. There are a lot of stories, everyone can work with her. There are people that work hoodoo that work with her that, they'll, if it's a hoodoo worker, they'll usually do the work if you go pay them. That's a difference. And people would go pay this guy, and all La Santa wanted was some flowers. you know, she'd done this great thing for this woman. All she wanted was some flowers. She could have, like, fucking picked flowers on the roadside. La Santa's not picky. Well, she wouldn't bring them. She wouldn't bring them. She wouldn't bring them. And, this is going on for months. And this guy called her and he said, I don't care if you get her fake flowers. You better get your ass here and get her some flowers. Can't you go to the dollar store? Because this woman had the money, okay? She was, like, fairly well off because La Santa helped her. Well, she says, "Oh, I don't have the time to do it." And as she's talking to him on the phone, she goes outside, half her fucking roof collapsed. And she couldn't believe it happened because, the whole house was sound and everything. He says, "I tried to warn you." She got angry, and there are stories you can find online where there was this atheist guy that was selling stuff for La Santa. He and a guy that was a believer were selling stuff at, like, say, a flea market. And he kept making fun of her. And the guy that was a believer said, "Hey, I know you don't believe in her, but she can hear you. I will cool it." And the guy kept making fun of her and kept making fun of her. His fucking ass died in a car wreck the next day. So, yeah, some of these stories can be traumatic. And you could take them with a grain of salt. You certainly can, because she usually is a sweetheart. You should not use her to do anything bad, but you should be aware that she is deaf. She can do absolutely anything, and I mean anything. Sometimes your other gods are kind of intimidated because if there isn't a statue for it now, it's going to exist in 5 minutes from now. So, pregnancy, having children, getting money, getting a job, getting health. You don't have to go out and buy statues in 5 million colors. You can just use one of the original colors or use whatever she says. You do not need an altar unless she says she does. And she's really good to work with. I don't know if I said, she protects all the outcasts because Catholic Church kind of created its own problem. That's why you have these folk saints pop up, because the Catholic Church will say, well, if you're a prostitute, you're no good, and if you're gay, you're no good, and if you're doing this, you're no good. These people have nowhere else to go, so they will turn to La Santa. And yes, there are bad people that turn to La Santa, but these same bad people turn to Jesus and the Virgin Mary too. So you cannot just say, oh, because she looks like a skeleton, she's this bad, scary thing. She's not. There are people that I don't know if they still make them, and I know it's a lot of information, guys. I'm sorry, but it's like La Santa download. That makes statues of her that look amazingly like the Virgin Mary. So if you can't get on board with the skeleton, same thing. You can use the Virgin Mary. You can use whatever you're comfortable with. She really doesn't care as long as you treat her well. She loves her sweets. She loves her dainties. If she's in dainty girly girl mode, she will love all the dainties. But if she's in working girl mode, she loves her beer and whatever else you'll serve her. She really doesn't care, and it'll be a thing where you'll just get into a comfortable mode of working with her. So I don't want to really suggest anything. Like, I used to give her flowers and I would treat her like a princess, which I still try to. But we got out of working together because, unfortunately, she has the same kind of tendency Baron does of leading you to the worst possible people. And she led me to these people on Facebook. Okay. And they would be talking about killing all the white people in Spanish in front of me, like a stupid gringo, right? Gringa, I'm sorry. She's like, and you have Translate right on Google. Even if you couldn't even go look it up and do Google Translate on your own, Google Translate is built right into Facebook so that people can communicate. So you could look at it and think, what? Hit the translate. Yeah, we're going to kill all the. And it was not them mistranslating, because they even went up and looked like every word up, and I'm like, yeah, that's actually what they're saying. And I would say, why are you trying to pretend you're my friend because you're talking to these people and agreeing with them and everything else? And it turned out these were like horribly racist people, and they were just into La Santa so they could make money off La Santa. That is the only reason they were dealing with her. But thankfully, there are a lot more good people, genuinely good people, that love and revere her, and they treat her like a princess, and they make, like, you can get 5 billion things with La Santa. I was lucky. I don't know if you could still import stuff from Mexico, but I got all my stuff, before, things went so crazy. So, she's really rewarding to work with, and your relationship's going to be entirely your own. So I really can't give you much guideline other than she's not evil. And, if you do start working with her, she does like her attention. Now, you might decide to spend time apart for various reasons, like if you're feeling, it's conflicting with something else, just explain it to her before you stop talking to her. She's very reasonable, actually. She's the most reasonable goddess, and she has infinite patience. She's deaf, and you're not getting away from her anyhow. And I think I'll close with, there's a story of her in a goddess aspect that, the heroes of the culture, were running around doing things, and they were going to build a new race of humans because if I'm remembering this correctly, I'm sorry if I'm getting this messed up. They were building a new race of humans from the bones of the old gods. So humans actually come from the bones of the old gods. And they had to go to the underworld. And the king of the underworld was like, yeah, fine, go ahead. But the queen, La Regina, was down there and she's like, no, you're not touching these. These are my babies. These are my children. I'm looking after them. And they had a bargain with her, and they had to say, we promise they'll be returned to you. So when we die, we actually return to our mom. And our mommy is very ferocious and protective, and she wants her children back. So I thought it was actually like a really sweet story because she is like a mom to most of the people she works with. They do have, at least they used to, a forum where people would get married to her for a set amount of time and, pay particular devotions to her. And, hopefully, whatever it was, I know it sounds mercenary, whatever the contract was, she fulfills it. And she's very good about keeping her word. If she cannot do something, she gets very obstinate, she doubles down, and then she finds a way to do it. She is the one that, when the Wudon Loa, for whatever reason, abruptly stopped working, she's the one that just came through and smashed through all the barriers, or she will use her scythe to bring you good things. That said, do not expect, to start working with La Santa and instantly you win the lottery or meet the love of your life. She can bring wonderful stuff into your life, but I would say you're better off, and I'm saying this from experience, in working for generalized stuff and letting her choose and decide because she is your personal deaf. She knows you better than you think you know. And sometimes the stuff we ask for will be no good for us. And she would be that protective mommy that, like, no, you can't have that. This is no good for you, Mija. I know you think you know, but you don't know. So you can't have this. So she's sweet to work with. She's a very good girl. She's a good spirit. So no, she's not bad. You see a lot of stuff in the news, and some people do push her in people's face, and they're like, Catholics in the begin to start off with, we're all kind of crazy. I grew up Roman Catholic. We're all kind of crazy. We think nothing of 30 statues and 80 candles. That's us. So there are people that have done stuff that I can see why people get upset. Like there was this woman that I thought it was a beautiful devotional, but I know why people got upset. She made like this window, and she didn't do this right in the city, in the part of Mexico City where there's like a lot of stuff for her. She did this in like, I think like a quiet U.S. town is where she did it. And she built this wonderful bay window display for La Santissima. And she did it because she promised her. And if you promise her something, you better come through with it. Well, a lot of people in the neighborhood had a problem with it because, she's beautiful and she's a skeleton and she's in her regalia. But she is a sweetheart. You do have to keep your promises. And I learned the hard way, do not try to make her take something that she doesn't want. She will throw it off her altar. She doesn't care how much you spent on it. She will throw it off her altar. And overall, she's very sweet. You don't have to spend a lot of money. There is something about her that you're going to want all the La Santissima stuff you can get and get it now, but you really don't have to. There's like an abundance of stuff. And she frankly doesn't care until if you wait until after Halloween and pick up discount stuff. She doesn't need 9 billion things. She will take them if you give them to her, but she really doesn't need them. Okay, there goes the damn clock. She would rather have your time and your attention and your love and have you, working on the relationship. And, that's about it. It's not going to be. She's the one that had to teach me to be practical because she came after my mom died and I was really alone for the first time in my life. And, She was the one that had to teach me kind of how to navigate in the world and how to take time for self-care and everything else. And she really is wonderful, but I think people that work with her, we tend to oversell her. We really do. We love her so much that we tend to oversell her because really she was a wonderful blessing and I can't thank her enough, but it isn't like, my house didn't become 5 times bigger, a Rolls Royce didn't appear in the driveway, and I didn't marry a billionaire. I am very thankful and very happy with what she did give me, but those things are not going to happen. So as long as you can go into a relationship with her with reasonable expectations, she can do everything she wants, but it might not be what you want her to do. Then you'll have a really good time with her. I was putting it off. I was waiting, but La Santissima, I've been seeing bats everywhere, and I'm like, well, I have a bat board, and then I'm like, oh yeah, La Santissima. So I hope you guys like what you see, and if you like what you see, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.